Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Dr. Alice Benton.
Welcome to New Life Live. I am Alice Benton. I have the pleasure of being here with Dr. Jill Hubbard and JJ West, and with all of you. Thank you for supporting us by listening, by calling, and for your financial support. We cannot do this without you, and we'll be getting to your calls soon. First, JJ is going to share a teaching with us.
So lately, especially today, I've been thinking about how easy it is to be uncharitable in our thoughts. Let me say it better. How easy it is for me to be uncharitable in my thoughts. Mm-hmm. So this morning, as I was getting ready to leave, I'm gathering all my things because to do radio from my office, I've got to gather lots of different electronic things. And I had left this one pouch that had a bunch of little connection pieces on the table. And when I went to go put it in my bag, it wasn't on the table. Where is it? And my wife likes to play this little game where she moves things around the house. It's a game we play regularly. And so I was certain she's moved it. And I'm searching all over the house. Where could she have put it? Where could she have put it? I'm searching everywhere. Can't find it. And I'm getting less and less charitable in my thoughts toward her for moving this thing that I need. So finally I go, well, I'm going to have to do without it today. And so I, head to work and I get here and I get everything set up. I had a couple sessions this morning and then I get everything set up for radio. And sure enough, the little pouch that I was looking for was in the bag that I keep all of my other radio equipment in that I had put it there so that I wouldn't forget it the next time I did radio. And, I had all of these uncharitable thoughts toward my wife that I now have to go and apologize for later today. I didn't express them. She doesn't even know that I had them, but I still need listening. To. She's working right now, so she's probably not listening. But I need to apologize for that, right? But I also have to check my heart because when I have uncharitable thoughts toward others, and especially people who are close to me, it shows up in those things like you always, you never. It shows up in not giving them the benefit of the doubt. And, the truth is she does move things around, but it's not because she's trying to make my life hard. She moves things around because she's trying to clean up and cluttered space for her is a distraction. It makes her feel uneasy, right? Is that a bad thing for her to do that? Of course not. Of course not. And so I have to check my own heart when I'm having those thoughts to say, am I believing the best for this person who God put in my life, to bless me? And I'm seeing it as a burden. I'm seeing it as in the way of me being able to do what I want. So I will confess later to her. I'm confessing to the audience that I was uncharitable today, and I'm sorry about that. And I'm working on it, and God's working on me.
JJ, I'm in a club with your wife.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I move things.
My husband said, I think somebody stole $40 from my wallet. I also clean money out of people's wallets and place it elsewhere. Well, we're coming up on a break, and we'll be going to the calls when we return. Beverly, you have been waiting patiently, so I'll be pulling you on air as soon as we come back from this break. And we're just delighted to be able to help all of you callers with relational conflict, with mental health symptoms, addictions, betrayal. JJ has expertise as a marriage and family therapist in helping families who are struggling with infidelity and sexual integrity issues. And Jill is a psychologist, as an author, as a speaker. She's just prepared to help you with just about anything you call in about. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're going to Beverly, who's calling us from New York, New York. She listens on the app, and you can download our New Life app so you can listen to us anytime, even search historical shows to be able to listen. So, Beverly, welcome to the show. How can we help you today?
Thank you. My husband had a stroke about 3 years ago, and he gave his life to the Lord during the ICU. Promptly after that, within, I guess, about a month, he confessed that he had had multiple affairs. It rocked me, hurt me, just tore me up. But as time went on, I sat in the home by myself, and I asked the Lord what to do. And I heard the Lord clearly say, "Let no man put it asunder, Beverly, even you." And I was like, okay. And he gave me another directive. I forgot that one right at this moment. But that one is the one I've stuck by. And so as time went on and he started confessing what he had done with multiple women, it rocked me. But then God reminded me, sin is sin. And I said, well, God, how many times do I have to forgive him? And the thing he told me was 70 times 7. But the last part of it is now, as he is healing after this time, every time I walk in the home or he sees me, he says, "Can you forgive me? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed up. Do you love me? I love you. Don't leave me." I said, "I'm not leaving you. We're husband and wife. I have a covenant." And I guess a year within, he said to me, "Can we renew our marriage? And this time I want to make it a covenant, not a contract." And I looked at him and I heard myself say yes. But he's so afraid now. He's like, "Can you forgive me?" And no matter how many times I encourage him, he has put himself down. He's so hard. How can I encourage my husband that the Lord loves him and that sin is sin and that we have no right to judge? I can't judge him. I can only forgive him because that's between him and God. But I love my husband no matter what he's done.
Well, Beverly, I honor your commitment to follow God, whatever he is nudging you to do. And even though you have a legitimate biblical reason to leave, you have chosen to stay and you want to have a heart of forgiveness for him. But of course, his multiple requests, it must be crazy making at some point and agitating and painful for him to continue to bring it up like this. Jill, what are you thinking?
Well, Beverly, wow, your heart is amazing. And I love how you have leaned into the Lord because so hurtful to realize this. And yet you're right. You are one of those people when Steve has talked about in the past, your husband didn't necessarily do this to you, but he did it at you, meaning you were, caught as collateral damage in his sin. And so hurtful. But the problem is his. And I think there's some work that he needs to do because it isn't, he's asked you for forgiveness, but you're not the one who completely needs to, appease him. He needs to receive, as you said, that forgiveness from the Lord, but he needs to forgive himself. And I think that comes through a process of healing. So I'm wondering, has he done any work on it since he's come through a medical condition? I'm thinking every man's battle would be...
We went through counseling.
Okay.
We went through counseling, but then during that stroke, he was able to confess some things, and we walked through some things. But then he fell in his practice of walking, and he had a TBI. So things have gotten scrambled. Things have gotten confused. And sometimes he's 100%, other times he's 75, and still others he's 50. I would say 75% of the time, he's about 75% able to discuss things. But then those rare times when he reverts back and he starts calling the name of these women. And I'm like, and at first I got angry. And then I said, honey, don't call their names. Let's pray for them. So now he's like, pray, we gotta pray. And I'm like, okay. So it doesn't hurt like it did, because I know that's the enemy's ploy. And so I still need to know how I can help him. As much as I tell him how much God loves him, how can I convince him that I have forgiven him? And the God keeps telling me, no matter what, 70 times 7. And that's what I have to do, no matter how many times he asks.
Is he aware when his brain starts going haywire, or when he's
He says
not?
he gets confused.
Okay.
He does say, I get confused.
Okay. Okay. And so I'm wondering if it would be helpful during those times when he starts getting very repetitive, if you were to remind him, sweetheart, we've been down this road before. I think your brain is being hijacked right now. It's going into one of its confusion times because of your medical condition. So why don't we leave this here right now, and we'll come back and revisit it later when your brain has calmed down.
Okay.
So that he could see it as, okay, his brain is in a sense malfunctioning, or he doesn't have full access to all of his memory. And so sometimes that helps to remove it from, being the shame on the self.
JJ, what are you thinking?
Well, Beverly, first I want to just commend you on your spiritual, emotional, and psychological insight, that you're able to see that this isn't about you. You're able to see that even his repetitive questioning, his repetitive asking for forgiveness has a lot to do with the stroke and the TBI. That's remarkable that you're able to do that, and I just want to commend you for that. I'm curious about whether you have a place where you're able to be honest about how painful it is to keep going through the process. I know that you don't want to put that on him because of his own healing process and because of what you've heard from the Lord, and I commend that. But do you have a place where you can go to unburden your heart, so that when you have those moments where he is starting to shout out the name of one of the affair partners, or when he's coming back to you once again with, can you forgive me? And you follow Jill's advice and you say, hey, your brain is starting to go into that cycle. Let's put this on the shelf. But do you have a place that you can go to pour out your heart?
Yes, my church does a ministry called Restoring the Foundations Ministry. And I have gone through the training and the teaching, and I've gone through a few other of the training and teachings, and I have been able to pour out that, walk through it, and again, be reminded that sin is sin, and that's the enemy's job, is to kill, steal, and destroy. And being married for 42 years, the enemy wants to destroy that. And people look, well, why don't you just leave him? That's not your business. And so, I have to stand. I have to stand. Yeah, I have to stand where God has placed me, because the word says in Ephesians 6, when you've done all to stand, stand firm. So I stand firm. And I may not stand on my feet. I may cry. I may crumple up. I may, scream. I may get in the car. But then I remind myself of God. Again, God says, Beverly, 70 times 7. Okay, God, I forgive him. Okay, God, I forgive him. Okay, God, I forgive him. And I move on, because none of us walk on water. None of us.
And it's apparent that your mercy is having effect on his soul. It brought him into humility and confession. I want to give you some wording, Beverly, that I want you to use with him before he asks you, forgive me, the next time. You might say, thank you so much for your humility, and that you keep asking for my forgiveness. I know you want it. It will help me to forgive you if you stop bringing it up so frequently. You can bring it up once a week, but I can't hear it every day. Rather, I want you to read this book, and we're going to send you Healing is a Choice, because his shame is connecting with his brain trauma, I believe, and that's why it's coming out in such a chronic, repetitive way. And so when he brings it up, I want you to redirect him. It will help me to forgive you if you'll keep working on Healing is a Choice. Keep reading that book. Keep taking those steps, especially if he has the capacity to be able to understand that, and it sounds like he does in his clearer moments. Do you think he could receive that from you, although it would be difficult for him to practice it?
Do you mean read the book to him, or me read the book for me? Or for both of us?
Both of you will benefit from it, and if he has the capacity to read it, then he can do it on his own. If he can't, you could read it to him.
I think he would have the capacity to read it, because when I leave on the Word at night while he's asleep, or worship music, he's starting to repeat it, because he got saved in the ICU. I've been saved a long time, but he got saved in the ICU, so he's a babe. And in his diminished capacity, he's been hearing the Word and catching the Word. He's not anywhere near where he might have been if he had gotten saved early in our marriage. So he's still a babe.
So he needs the right path, because he doesn't know what to do to be able to really gather and get your forgiveness. We have Every Man's Battle coming up on August 10th, and today's the last day for the early bird special. It's online, and so no matter what his limitations are, physical or cognitive limitations, he could attend Every Man's Battle, where he can learn what to do to bring about forgiveness, and so that he can receive it, because that's why he keeps asking for it. Although you've given it to him, he can't get it into his heart. The shame is stopping that process from taking place. So we'll send you Healing is a Choice. Stay on the line so we can get you the information for Every Man's Battle, again on August 10th. And thank you so much for calling, Beverly. We're going to speak next to Peggy, and she's calling us from Plano, Texas, and listens on the podcast. Peggy, welcome to the show. How can we help you today?
Thank you. Well, I have a question on how to handle a situation properly. I have a family member that during a family member's passing, me and another family member, a lot of us was having a lot of emotions. There was a lot going on, and things got heated. And it's been 3 years, and I have tried to reach out, but at the same time, I was dealing with my own emotions and processing. So now she's ready to talk, but I don't think it's for the right reasons, and I'm really, I think, hurt by it, but at the same time, I want to do what's right.
And as you're concerned about her motivation, and you don't maybe trust why she's asking to talk, what's your question for us? There's been a lot of tension for these past 3 years.
Oh, a lot. Well, we all run kind of in the same group, and so we're cordial around one another. But the friendship is not there, and then the relationship of being family is not there. And I went up to her and told her that, enough's enough. We need to talk. And she just told me until I apologized to her, she didn't have any use for me. Ooh. And it was really hurtful, because she's, like I said, she's very cordial around people, and then she's kind of hateful and rude behind people. And so I kind of finally just thought, I got to work on me, and I'll let her be. So then when she texted me ready to talk, it sparked that, because I have struggled with, why did our friendship not mean enough? Why was, the rabbit trail that you can go down? And so I told her that thank you for reaching out, and that I'd love to talk to her, but right now is not a good time. I have a lot going. And it's not that I don't want to talk to her, that I do want to talk to you. And she messaged back with just unloading on what took place what she's dealing with, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. And so it makes me feel that she has no one else to confide in. She don't have anybody else to turn to talk to. And so she's not coming to me to want to work our issues out. She's just needing me.
And so Peggy,
And
as we're coming to a break, leave us with a question that we can think about over the break.
How do I handle it? Or I obviously want to talk to her, but I don't want to get used.
And she's been giving you mixed signals. Her actions seem to be telling you she's still acting out in anger, and she might not be safe to have a vulnerable conversation with, but you sound like you're driven by your principles, wanting to do the right thing, and you want to mend the relationship if it's possible. We'll talk about it after the break, so hold on. We'll be right back.
Before coming to this weekend, I have been dealing with the guilt and shame of an abortion that I had 20 years ago. And we have 3 awesome kids. But every time I kept getting close to the Lord, kids saying to me, "You're the best mom." That voice in the back said, "You're a horrible mother. Look what you did to that child. You killed somebody. You don't deserve any of this, and you're not worthy." To help free me from my guilt and see that I would not make the same decision today, I would make a different decision, and I am a great mom, and God can use me.
This is Steve Arterburn, and this is the story of a new life. After 20 years of guilt and shame, she attended a workshop and now is free. You can be part of offering hope to others as you step out in faith by donating to New Life Ministries.
To make your tax-deductible gift, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit newlife.com and click Donate.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. I'm Alice Benton here with Dr. Jill Hubbard, J.J. West, and we have been talking with Peggy, who isn't certain if she should enter into a tough conversation with a friend about historical conflict. J.J., you had some thoughts to share.
Yeah, 2 thoughts, Peggy. Number one, it's important for us to remember anytime we have a rift with someone, Scripture tells us in Romans 12 that as much as it is up to you, live at peace with all people. It gives us that caveat. It doesn't say just blanket statement, live at peace with all people. It says as much as it is up to you. In other words, you play a role, but your family member also plays a role in that. And you can't make them be reconciled to you. You can't make them have pure motives. You can't make them want to be reconciled instead of just using you as maybe their only support system. So it's important to remember that you got to focus on as much as it is up to you. What do I need to do to be reconciled? What do I need to do to, what do I need to confess? What do I need to repent of? And how do I need to cast hope for the future of this relationship? That being said, because you do question your relative's motives for why she wants to now work on reconciliation, you may want to consider asking her to go with you to a counselor, to a third party of some sort, so that it feels like a safer environment rather than just one-on-one. and there may be some things that your relative could hear from that third party that she can't hear from you. So that may be a route to go that helps you guys move toward reconciliation and not just feeling used.
Okay.
And I think, Peggy, here, to be thoughtful in this and to set some boundaries up front, but in a loving way, right? We want to be firm but loving. So to maybe let her know, and if you can't do this directly, sometimes we can do it in writing, that what your goal is, what is your heart's desire? And your heart's desire is that you be reconciled with her. You could even share that you miss the relationship, and maybe even share something specifically that you miss about being her family member and being her friend. And then to say, but I want to make sure that we clear up our issues before we launch into dealing with all that's going on. And that I'm hearing a lot that you do have a lot going on. And, I have compassion for that, but I'm also hearing that it may not have a lot to do with me. And so I would feel more comfortable clearing us up first so that we're both in a good place with each other before we launch into helping each other with other situations and then pushing our issues under the rug.
Yeah.
Peggy, you make me think of how Jesus said to people who doubted him, watch my actions. If you don't believe my words, watch my actions. And you're trying to decipher, where does the truth lie? Is it in the words you're hearing from your family member or her actions? And you may not know for a time where that truth is, where she's really genuine, because she might be feeling pretty mixed up about this as well. And I want to make sure you heard what JJ said, that you get to decide how and when and in what format you'll be talking to her. You get to set up safety guidelines. You can do it in a public place. He said you could do it in a therapy session, and you can determine how much time you're willing to test this out with her to see, is she becoming a safer person or not? And I also want you to check your heart when she said, I'll talk with you when you have an apology. That sounded like a pretty reactive thing to say, but do you owe an apology? And have you done enough on your part to acknowledge where you might have fallen short? That's a tough thing for us to look at, but we're all imperfect. So we usually did play some part in how heated the conversation was.
Yeah, I know I did. And, I would have worked it out and apologized immediately after we all calmed down. But I can't take all the heat for it. And
all the heat doesn't all belong to you. So you're right to expect that if we're going to have relationship, we each have to show up in a safer way. We're going to send you How We Love, because it describes personality types, attachment styles, and gives my very favorite, the Comfort Circle, which shows us how to have a safe conversation and avoid argumentativeness while seeking to understand. Even when we disagree, you laugh. And so I hope that means that hits the mark. Peggy, we're grateful. We're grateful that you called. Thank you. And we hope that resource and our advice will be helpful to you. Thank you again. We're going to talk next to Jean. She's a Club New Life member, which we are always grateful for. That sustains us, Jean. And she is calling from Omaha, Nebraska, listening on the podcast. You can access the podcast as well by downloading our app, and then you can listen to the New Life show anytime. Jean, thank you and welcome to the show. How can we help you?
How to bring about some reconciliation with a daughter who has canceled me. She was told to cancel or ghost, and I understand we went to a counselor, my husband and I, who told us that this is becoming a culture of canceling, and told us to start grieving. He actually gave us no hope. I can't believe that's the way we should be acting. I just can't believe that she really sees it forever.
Jean, we are receiving more and more of these painful calls, and you're certainly right. It's becoming almost popular to cancel when there's even just ideological disagreement. I want you to consider over the break, if we asked your daughter, why did you cancel your mom? I want you to think about what might her answer be, and we will come back after the break to be able to hear that from you. As Jean is a Club New Life member, you could join as well. You'll get great resources from New Life.
I'm addicted to oxycodone. I've been on oxycodone almost 3 years.
Addiction affects millions of people every year.
I've been on it for a long time, and I need to get off.
New Life can connect you with some of the finest Christian inpatient treatment programs in the country that work with people from all backgrounds and beliefs.
First it was for back pain, and I was on it for a long time. And then I currently just had shoulder surgery.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction to illegal or prescription drugs, alcohol, or dealing with an eating disorder, it's time to seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers all around the country.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or visit us online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch listening to all this great information and not paying, so my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. I mentioned as we went out on break that Jean, whom we are speaking with, is part of our Club New Life. And there are a variety of benefits you receive when you're willing to come along and support us on a monthly basis and become a Club New Life member. When you call in, you get put to the top of our call list so that you don't have to wait long to get answers to your questions. And we also have access to the New Life video library with over 550 teaching videos. But we are going to try to help Jean right now with her struggle. Okay. Her adult daughter has canceled her. And I left you with a question, Jean. If we were able to talk with your daughter, how would she explain why she canceled you?
She would say because of how she was raised, and I had a lot of anger issues, and she got the unfortunate process of my anger, especially in her teenage years. That would be number one. Number two is that another sibling has entered the picture and has taken away some of what she was having. That is a lot of time with her children, and then I had to divide that time up. And it was my anger issues when she was younger. So I couldn't sleep for months throughout the night, just tossing and turning. My husband and I both have had this time to reflect and pray prayerfully what we did and what we didn't do that was good. And one of the things that she mentioned to us that she was not bonded. So we did go back and looked at this. She was born in the 70s when, it was not popular to breastfeed, and women were saying, forget being a mother, start finding a career. And that kind of did happen. And she was in some child care that was not good. So who knows? I'm not sure, but she's not been open to reconciliation. So my heart is still every day. It's just I'm going through those grieving processes.
Yeah.
And man, I tell you, it's tough because I don't know how this is going to come about.
Jean, it is the biggest heartache for parents to be separated from a child and not be able to talk and try to work things out. How old is your daughter?
She will almost be 50.
Okay. She's
talking, she's old. Yeah. She's born in the 70s.
Oh, okay. That's right. That you did say that. Okay. So it sounds like perhaps she's entered a season of doing some work on herself. And
yes.
Okay. And looking at what happened to her in the past. And I think when people do that and they are getting in touch with the hurt and they're learning new terminology, whenever we learn something new, there's this tendency to kind of swing to more of an extreme place. And it can take time to kind of swing back and come to the middle with it. So in going through and looking at and perhaps getting some validation that she felt like she didn't have, she is pushing you out while she works on this. She's angry with you all.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, and that's hard.
Yes,
I mean, I never like this idea of we cut parents out. I mean, I think there are very few situations when some people are extremely abusive and it's unsafe. But this all or nothing stance that's so popular right now, I think is really destructive to families. So, but in that, you've not been given a choice. She's an adult. She's cutting off relationships. So there is grieving that you need to do. However, I don't think you need to give up all hope. I think you still need to hold on to hope. You need to be praying for her. And I think periodically to reach out and invite her into relationship, and in a variety of ways. I think it's good that you and her dad are reviewing how you were. I think it's really important, Jean. Even if you have already, you've really got to own all of your choices and behavior in her growing up years, and letting her know you really want to hear from her perspective. You know from your perspective, and you know your heart, but you don't want to water down the impact on her. Because regardless of how you felt, she experienced it a certain way. And so it's really important. We're not looking for the facts here. We're looking for what was her experience. And to be able to say, wow, if that's how it felt to you, that would feel terrible. I can see why you were so hurt. So we don't want to go into defensive mode. You don't want to defend your actions. Regardless the reason, you were angry. Doesn't make you a horrible person. It just means you were a hurtful person at that time.
Yes.
And you probably had your own hurt that you were reacting to. She may have been doing some things too that caused you to be reactive. Nonetheless, you're trying to repair. There's been a massive rupture here that has been very delayed, but nonetheless, she's sorting through it, as is a good thing to do, and that your hope would be for reconciliation, but that you want to hear from her experience. So that's
a key phrase. What was your experience?
Yes.
To me, that is a key phrase.
Got it.
Yes.
I really want to understand what it was like to be on the receiving end of me through your eyes.
Yeah, and Jean,
I'm
one of the
writing
things.
this down.
Yeah, good, very good. So glad to hear that. So one of the things that if she's currently not letting you speak with her, if she's currently kind of keeping you at arm's length, you could write a letter. You could write a letter and you could specify all the things that Jill just talked about. Here are the ways that I am aware that I failed you, that I let you down, or that I hurt you as a mother, or you and your husband could do that together, right? Here are the ways that we have as parents. Here are some specific ways that we're aware of that we hurt you, and we want to acknowledge and apologize for that. We want to be reconciled, but we also recognize that there are things we don't know, that we don't know your experience. And if you would be willing to share that with us, we would love to hear, right? You could do that in a letter that gives her then the time to process it, gives her time to think about what her response is. It doesn't feel quite so intense as a conversation face to face. She might be able to think through that, and she might be able as well, if you're able to express, I want to hear your heart. I don't want to come in and be defensive and tell you, well, this is why we did what we did, and it's not fair for you. Like, no, I'm not doing any of that.
Right.
If you're able to communicate that in the letter, that may be enough of a catalyst for her to then open up the lines of communication. You mentioned that she was told to cancel you. Who told her to do that?
Yes, a counselor.
A counselor did.
So Jean, you might then offer, and we said something similar to Peggy, that you would meet with her counselor, if that would be safe for her, if she's ever willing to hear this apology from you and to give you feedback. Be open to that while bracing yourself that this may take quite a bit more time for her to have the courage to face these conversations with you. Jean will send you Doing Life with Your Adult Children by Jim Burns. It will prepare you for when she opens back up. You will then know how to handle this. And as you've been writing notes, I can just hear your humility and how receptive you are. I think you've already come a long way from those angry days. You had legitimate reason to be angry, but your willingness to acknowledge you didn't always go about your anger in the right way.
Go ahead.
Alice, can I say one more thing? I think it's important. We talk about this at the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop so often, that anger covers up sadness, right? Madness covers up sadness. Anger is a secondary emotion. And so some of the things that she's expressing to you, she's expressing through anger, but what's underneath that is probably a sadness that she's needing to grieve, what she didn't get, what she longed for that she didn't have growing up. And if you can reinterpret some of the things that she's saying to you and some of the ways that she's behaving, even though it's coming out as anger, if you can reinterpret that as sadness, that may help you to be compassionate and merciful with her.
Jean, thank you so much for calling and being willing to hear and put into practice the advice that you're being given. Thank you. We're going to try to get a question from Jennifer. Jennifer, we are coming up on the break, but we want to get your question. You're calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, listening on the internet. Start with your question. After the break, we'll get more details from you.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Give us a question
Okay. Sorry about that. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. I'm really struggling with co-parenting. My ex-husband and I are divorced, but he was a very sexually abusive man. He did try to murder me twice. And we have kids that are 8, and then his abuse is trickling down into them when they say things to me. And I've been sober for 8 months. I trying so hard. I did it online. I did it online, AA online, because I couldn't go to rehab because I work full time.
So Jennifer, I'll pause you there. Good start on your story. There is so much to it, complicated, and a lot of pain. We'll have time for you when we come back from this brief break. You're welcome.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Dr. Heidi Summers on coaching.
A lot of people don't understand the difference between counseling and coaching. Coaches can help you with strategizing. Not everyone is in a crisis or recovering from a trauma. A lot of people just need help getting to where they want to be, and they don't know how to do that. And so it's helpful to have a third party come in to give objective feedback, set goals, create accountability, and help you walk out what your goals actually are.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been screened and certified with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches are intended to help you live in the present and goal set toward what it is you want for the future.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We were talking with Jennifer right before the break, a very tumultuous history with her ex-husband who has been abusive, and they co-parent. So Jennifer, Jill's going to share something right off the bat with you.
So Jennifer, very, very difficult. In divorce, as you are seeing, you still are interacting with the person that has hurt you because of the kids. And so it's really important to find a way, and sometimes co-parenting is almost next to impossible, and the kids are having to understand whose rules to follow when they are with each parent. I think, though, with someone who is verbally abusive, you do not want to have conversations, because you're just going to keep repeating the dynamic, and the kids are going to be exposed to that. So you want to limit your kids from seeing that. Everything should be put in writing, because it also, you want to create a paper trail. So,
okay, thank you.
Emailing him about schedules and drop-offs and appointments and needs, and try as best you can to not keep rehashing the divorce. This takes a long time, but a lot of times in correspondence, there's digs that go back and forth about resentments that are unresolved. In divorce, you get everything you never wanted and none of the good in this relationship. And so you want to have boundaries to protect yourself. Try to stay factual, matter of fact, just information giving, not trying to get him to do anything, because he's not going to do in divorce what he wouldn't do in marriage. And so here's where you're going to have to trust and attend to the kids' needs and what they share with you, and try to be emotionally available. I commend you for getting sober. Congratulations. That's really important for your parenting moving forward. And I understand, you know, as a mom with young kids and working, you've got to do it online, and you're doing what you have to. Eventually, and perhaps when the kids are with him, it would be good to have some face-to-face time in those groups as well.
Jennifer, check with the attorney that helped you with the divorce. I've worked with families who used an app that was a court-appointed app so that the judge, the attorneys would have access to it. And then if he continues that abuse in that format, it's documented, something you can use to protect the children and possibly ask for the custody arrangement to be changed so that both you're protected from his abuse, but so that they are as well. It's a courageous question that you're asking of us. We're sending you Take Your Life Back, and that will just help you to empower you and to see all the areas that he and his abuse have been able to manipulate and to steal from you, because we want to help you to reestablish safety and reestablish joy for you and your children. Jennifer, thank you for calling. We're going to speak with Sally. She's calling us from Los Angeles, California, listening on KKLA. Sally, we're coming towards the end of our program, so we wanted to take your call. We have a few minutes left. How can we help you?
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Sure. How can we help you?
So I have a question. How do I move forward in this relationship that we've had ongoing? It's like a mother figure and a sister figure, but it's mother and daughter, of course. And I am the non-blood, like mother, like sister person. However,
there are times when I feel like I've reached out and I've done things to be there to support, and it's a very nonchalant, one-sided relationship. And I feel like I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to do anything for them. I don't want to be around them because I feel this emotional way, which I don't like. I don't want to feel like be upset or mad or hurt, you know? And I just want to know, how do I move forward with that?
Well, Sally, your hurt is warning you that something is wrong, and you point out there's a lack of some things you need in good, healthy relationship. And so that desire to withdraw, that's a warning sign that something is off in this relationship. JJ, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I would say, Sally, you got to start with communicating your concerns to the other person, because if you don't, what happens is you just resentment builds up and builds up and builds up, and then you just want to make a break from that person. You just want to distance yourself from that person, right? But that doesn't bring about healing. That doesn't bring about change. The other person may not be aware of the way they're behaving and the impact that it's having on you. So it's really important to be able to have those open and honest conversations to say, I don't like the way I am feeling and what it's calling me to do. Like, I don't want to be resentful of you because I like you. I love you. I want to have a good relationship with you. But when it feels one-sided like this, I start to get upset and resentful, and then I want to pull away from you. So could we have a conversation around having a more balanced relationship rather than it feeling so one-sided, right? And if the other person says, you know what, I'm happy with the way things are, then at least you've expressed your heart, and you can walk away not with resentment, but with a sense of I've used my voice and I did what I could do to be reconciled, and they chose not to be reconciled with me.
Okay.
Well, and Sally, I just wanted to add, to recognize that you're in a mentor-mentee type relationship, and some of what may be going on is this other person's issues with their own mother and how they treat her. And so I would continue what JJ has said, but asking her how she feels about the relationship, and are there any similarities in how she's feeling with you as she feels with her own mother, and to check that out with her.
Sally, we'll be sending you boundaries, and it really gives all of the, even scripts, but also what you can expect. And when we're not receiving what we need, boundaries teaches us what to do about it and how to get those needs met either in that relationship or elsewhere if they're incapable of doing that for you. So thank you for calling, Sally, and we will send boundaries out to you. We're going to fit in one more call. Bonnie, you're calling with a quick comment. Now, we only have a minute left, but we want to hear from you, Bonnie, calling from Denver, Colorado. Just take a minute.
Thank you so much. Yes, I wanted to say thank you because I called in a few years ago, and I was, of course, in a crisis, and I was asking for advice because, I got divorced and later found out from my daughter. I knew my husband had been, verbally and emotionally abusive, but it turns out he was more abusive. And then when he divorced me, he latched onto another woman with 3 kids. So I was very concerned about her kids being in danger.
But Bonnie, I need to interrupt just because we're coming to the end of our show. You received some advice from New Life. You told our call screener. What advice did you receive about such a complex situation, and how did it help you?
Yes, you did advise me to talk to the authorities, and I did, which was great because, but they couldn't do anything because my daughter was the one to, as an adult, to press charges if she wanted. But what I did was I wrote a letter to the mother and father of those kids, and I was so proud, and my daughter agreed with me. So it really helped us, and then I actually got a cease and desist letter saying I couldn't, say things that were not true, but they were true. I was not afraid, and it has really helped with healing. I would advise anyone to write letters personally.
Bonnie, you put into
Yeah.
practice the verse from Ephesians to speak the truth with love, and as much as it pertains to us to do what we can about these difficult situations. Bonnie, thank you for that. And don't forget that every man's battle, the early bird pricing ends today. So call and get in for every man's battle.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.